Librarian works, yeah.
A librarian that works for.
Library assistant.
Oh, a library assistant.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and explain.
Okay, there are two sentences here. The first one is, Bill Gates has voiced alarm over the possible emergency of self-aware machines out to do harm to the human race. You know, this my question is, out to do is a phrase, or out to is a phrase. You know, we usually we say speak out, work out, or we say out of. For example, hey, she did it out of love. She's out of job. So my question is, over the possible emergency of self-aware machines, out to do harm to the human race. Here, out to do is a phrase.
Well, that's a good question to start with. Careful, this is emergence. Emergence and emergency are related. But the whole idea is, you know what a merge is?
Yeah, emerging countries.
Yeah, but merge is when things come together, right?
Come together.
That's a merge.
A merge, right? Merger.
Yeah, is things coming together.
Oh, okay.
So emerge is
merge out.
Yeah. All right, so that separation is to emerge. So when we talk about emergence, it's just coming out of something. So the word an emergency really just means something happened, right? So this is a related word, but emergence simply means development, the start of something, you know, it's something happening. So emergency is a much stronger, more, how do you call it, more urgent meaning.
It's an emergency room.
Yeah.
ER.
Yeah. Or when there's an emergency on the highway, you know, an accident or something. But this out to do harm, it's a fun question because out has so many uses. But it's not just out. Have you ever watched a movie where somebody goes to prison and people ask him, what are you in for?
Why you're here?
Yeah, but in, why use the word in?
Means what's the reason that you were in jail? You are in jail.
Right. The problem is, we do have an expression, in for. You're in for a surprise, right? So you do have to decide, you have to figure out which pieces go together. In, is this in for? Or are they separate? And in this case here, like you said, the in simply means in jail. So what are you in jail for? So our for actually belongs with what? For what are you in jail, right? Whereas you are in for a surprise, with this expression here, we might have some history of in line, perhaps. You know, if you are lining up for something, you're in line for a coffee, right? You're going to get yourself a coffee. A similar idea, you're in line for a surprise, but the meaning is kind of funny because if it's a surprise, you don't usually line up. You don't know that you're going to get one, right? So the origins of this phrase are no longer as important. This is now a fairly set idiom, which means that those two words together have a bigger meaning than just the meaning of each word, right? So you're in for something means that you are going to get something, right?
So if I am in a line to buy a cup of coffee and you cut the line, may I say this to you? Hey, you are in for a surprise.
You could, if you're planning to pour my coffee on my head or something as punishment for cutting in line. You could do that. Really, it just means that you're going to get a surprise, right? So if you want to encourage your students, they all look unhappy after the midterm exams. So you can say you're in for a surprise and smile at them. Or if you look at your students' papers and you're not happy, you're in for a surprise, because they think they did, they're all happy, I did great on the exam. You're in for a surprise, So that expression doesn't have any connotation for good or for bad. It simply means you're going to get something. But that's part of the problem with these short words, the prepositions. When we put them together, we end up using them in a lot of different ways. However, this issue is one of many situations where we can use them literally, in, meaning in jail, in a place, or out, meaning, out of a place. And the question is, how does this expression relate back to the literal meaning of the word, right? You guys do this in Chinese too. Some expressions are literal, right? 加油, right? If you're running out of gas, 需要加油, right? You can mean that literally. But if you're in the middle of the class and students are getting a bit tired, they don't want to finish their work, 加油, 加油, right? It's an expression. Every language does this. For everything you say, there might be a literal meaning. Get gas, go to this gas station and buy gas. Or a metaphorical meaning, a figurative meaning, a meaning that is not exactly what the words mean. So, with this one here, can we ask out from where? Because with this one, what are you in for? In where? Right? Well, the context is usually in jail, right? Sometimes it's for other things. If you go to a hair salon, right, you want to get a haircut, but not just a simple haircut. Usually it's more for girls, but it could be guys who want to color their hair, guys who want to have a special hairstyle, right? You go into the shop and they could ask you, what are you in for today? Why are you here? What do you want, right? So, can we ask here, out from where? Self-aware machines out to do harm.
From our lab?
Could be out from the lab. When we use the word out like that, there are other sort of idioms like that, expressions, like out and about. Like with a lot of these, we use them that way for the sound. Out, about, there's a rhyme there. So if somebody is out and about, it sounds like bad English because out is a preposition, about is a preposition. Out and about what, right? But we use it this way simply to mean you're not in, right? So if you get sick and then you have to stay in your bed for a week, then maybe when you are ready to get up, you will be up and about. Because you were lying down, so now that has changed, now you are up, right? If you're not in, maybe you are out. So a lot of times that's how these work. Now we can say, for example, if you really annoy somebody, maybe you have a student or a teacher who you have really upset, then your classmates might tell you, he is out to get you. Again, out simply means not waiting at home, not in, right? If you are in, perhaps you are in your home and I come into your home, then I am in to get you, right? Which could be a good thing. You know, you have a birthday party, I'm here to bring you to your party. I'm in to get you. But typically, this is the more common one. And we usually mean it as in out to get revenge, out to attack you, to hurt you, to do something to you, right? So out of your house, out of where you stay, not in. So out to do harm, it could be out of the lab, outside. They're not just in their own little lab anymore. If the robots stay inside their own company, then they can't hurt anybody. There was a time when all of their robots needed to be plugged into the wall. Now they use batteries, so they can go a lot further. So that out just has that idea. Okay? It is a common problem that we use these little words in different ways. And this is one of the things about these prepositions, okay? Prepositions are those little words. Chinese has them too. Most languages do. They're the little words like in, on, at, to, over, from. All of those little words, and we have a lot of them, right? There are at least 50 that we use most of the time, but English has about 300. I forget now. At least 300, okay? There's a lot of them, and you're never going to know them all. So the important thing is not to memorize out to get him, out to get revenge, out to do something. It's not, that part isn't important. You don't need to remember each one. You need to get an idea, a feeling of how they work. And the core idea with prepositions is that they always start by talking about where. So, if you know anything about how we tell time in English, how we talk